This is The Opinions, a show that brings you a mix of voices from New York Times Opinion. You've heard the news. Here's what to make of it.
My name is Peter Coy, and I work for the opinion section of the New York Times. I write a newsletter about economics, business, and finance. My wife and I have one child. It so happens that he's getting married 2 days before our anniversary date, so we're going to be able to celebrate that for many years to come. And it got me thinking about the institution of marriage and what an unusual thing it is, and special thing, kind of, to take that plunge into the unknown. Marriage is good for the overall well-being of society. And with falling marriage rates, I have an argument for how people could think about making such a big decision. Well, I started looking into how people come about getting married and how they make that big leap. And I came upon a book by a philosophy, cognitive science professor at Yale named L.A. Paul. And the book is called Transformative Experience. And Paul talks about how marriage is a transformative experience. And she means transformative in a very serious way, like how it transforms you into a different person. So today you and the post-marriage you are truly two different people. So when you get married, you are doing something for the future you, the married you, and yet it's the today you who's making the decision. It's kind of mind-bending when you think about it that way. And fewer Americans are making that decision to marry for their future selves. Marriage is becoming less common in the United States and really around the world. And you could look at that very simply by looking at the percentage of people who get married every year. We have data from the National Center for Health Statistics that shows that it was 10 per thousand back in the year 1900. That's how far back their numbers go. It rose right after World War II when all the troops are coming home to like 16 per thousand, and then bounced around. Ever since around 1980, it's been on a quite steady downhill. So we're down around 6 or so per thousand. Economists spend a lot of time looking at why the marriage rate has gone down. And some of it is because of good things that are happening in society. You know, women's equality. Women are making more money. They have better jobs than they used to. So they're more able to live on their own. They don't have to depend on a husband to get by. On the bad side, inequality, income inequality probably exacerbates the tendency for people not to get married. So it used to be that when a man and woman would marry, that her standard of living would be pulled upward. Now women are working more and earning more than they used to, which is great. But as a result, a lot of lower income men are having more trouble finding mates because they don't have as much to offer as they used to. Economists, everybody thinks all they care about is numbers, but economists generally care about welfare. And if people are happier married, then it's almost by definition a loss when they're not getting married. Not that every marriage is happy all the time, but I got some research from economists who said that being married is like the equivalent of an extra $100,000 a year in income. So it's good stuff, and you hate to see it decline. And I would also say it's hugely beneficial to the children. Now, it doesn't have to be heterosexual marriage, it could be gay marriage, but the idea that you have a couple who commit themselves to life. Certainly there are divorces, but there's research that shows that people who have children out of wedlock, just in cohabitation, are far more likely to separate before the child's 12th birthday than people who are married at the time the child is born. You can think of marriage as an investment. Like any investment, sometimes it doesn't pan out. Some investments go bad, but you'll never get the benefit of it if you don't try. like other investments, like financial investments, there's a sacrifice involved. There's something you are doing. You're taking resources that could have been used for something else and you're investing them in the marriage with hopes of a future payback. It's a commitment. I've had a happy marriage myself, so just purely personally, it's worked out. Today, me is very happy that the single me made that decision. If I had to boil it down, why is marriage good? I think it's good because two people come together, form a union, support each other, and in many cases, go on to have children and form a loving, stable family, which is the ideal environment for raising children. It's something that is time-tested and proven that it works. And what we need to do is not try to discover what works, but support what works.
If you like this show, follow it on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Opinions is produced by Derek Arthur, Vishaka Darba, Christina Samuelewski, and Jillian Weinberger. It's edited by Kari Pitkin and Allison Bruzik. Engineering, mixing, and original music by Isaac Jones, Sonia Herrero, Pat McCusker, Carol Saburo, and Afim Shapiro. Additional music by Aman Sahota. The fact-check team is Kate Sinclair, Mary Marge Locker, and Michelle Harris. Audience strategy by Shannon Busta and Christina Samuelewski. The director of Times Opinion Audio is Annie Rose Strasser.
You can also find us in the New York Times app. Download the app and tap Listen at the bottom of the screen to find us and all other New York Times shows and narrated articles.